Trust is one of the most important parts of any relationship, whether it's with a friend, a partner, or a family member. So, in this video, I'll talk about 10 signs that someone is not someone you should trust, according to Stoic thought. First of all, you have to watch a person to see if they have any of these traits. But this isn't too hard. Just look at the person's words and deeds to figure out who they are and what they're like. So, to be clear, I'll say something about each of these kinds of people and tell you why you shouldn't trust them. Before we start, please make sure you are signed up for the channel. As usual, don't give up. Stay until the end. Narcissists are the first type of person we'll talk about. When working with narcissists, the Stoics would tell us that it's important to keep our inner peace and not let other people's actions affect it. We can keep our minds at peace in the face of their ego if we learn to be indifferent to their self-centered actions. Think about it. If someone is always talking about themselves and doesn't care much about other people, you can't really trust them because they only care about themselves and always put them first. You can't trust narcissists, no matter who they are, because they think their own image is the most important thing in the world. They don't want anyone to be better or the same as them. They are the kind of people who will do anything to improve their self-image. This is a very dangerous trait because you never know what a person will do to keep the image they want. Most of the time, they are the kind of people who try to put the blame on others for their own mistakes. Don't believe people who talk too much about themselves and only want to force their opinions on others without listening to anyone else, because they could hurt you at any time to get what they want. Gossip. Gossips are the second type of person. Stoicism also shows us how to deal with rumors and hurtful things people say. Stoics said that we shouldn't let what other people think about us affect us. If someone tells secrets or shares information about someone else, it's likely that the same person will do the same thing to you, talking about you and your life behind your back. Believe me, this kind of thing will almost certainly happen. When someone talks about other people, it's not just a habit. It's something they do because they enjoy it. So don't think that just because someone is your friend, they won't tell other people your secrets. Don't mess up like that. The only good thing about a gossip is that if you want the news to spread, you just have to tell the gossip, and they will do all the work for you. The third type is someone who is always getting on your nerves. Stoicism gives us the practice of self-reflection as a way to deal with people who are annoying or try to take advantage of us. Instead of responding out of emotion, we can take a moment to think about how our own thoughts and actions affect the situation. It's one thing to be going through a hard time in your life and losing your temper quickly with people, not because of them, but because you're stressed out all the time. It's a whole different story when you're more calm but always get angry around the same person. If that person is able to annoy you all the time, it's because they play emotional and psychological games with you in a subtle way. For example, they might throw ideas at you that confuse you or feed your doubts in small amounts so that you don't fully understand their emotional and psychological games. People do things like this just for fun, so be careful of these subtle little games. If someone is always making you mad, it's because they're poking you with their actions and words, and you don't even know it. Can't decide. People who can't decide are the fourth type. Stoicism tells people who have trouble making choices to focus on what they can control, their own decisions and actions. It's easy to see why you shouldn't trust these people. How can you trust someone who is always on the fence about what to do and can't even decide what they want to do with their lives? Why should you believe them? They are also very hard to predict because their personalities aren't fully formed yet, so you don't know what choices they will make. They are people who can't decide what they want to do because they don't have strong personalities. To put it bluntly, believing someone who can't make up their mind is like putting a knife in the hands of a child. When you're not around, you don't know what they'll do. Both sides. The fifth type is people who have two sides to them. Stoicism would tell you to be careful around people who have two faces. Instead of thinking about what other people do, we can work on becoming better people ourselves. You've probably dealt with people like this before. They act like they like you, but they talk about you behind your back. They also do this to other people, so don't be shocked when people say bad things about you. One minute, they smile and act nice, and the next, they say bad things about you. When you start to see this kind of behavior, I think it's best to get out of the situation as soon as possible. Don't miss the chance to control your emotions. Get the Self-Knowledge ebook now. Click the link in the first pinned comment and open your true potential. What's up? The interested person is the sixth type. From a Stoic point of view, it's important to set limits on talks and be careful about what you share. Stoics say to stay away from people who are always curious, because it can lead to dangerous information being shared. Also, this interest could be a sign of envy, so be careful with who you share information with. After all, it's hard to know for sure that the person won't use your information in a bad way later on. If someone is always interested in something, it's best to stay away from them or not believe them. But there is one thing that needs to be made very clear. Don't mistake current talk for too much curiosity. This is what I mean. When you're getting to know someone or talking to a friend, they may sometimes try to find a topic or get to know you better by asking about your work, school, and what you're doing. That's a normal thing to say in a chat. But you should know that the curious person is the one who will always ask about your life and sometimes ask about sensitive things. For example, the person might ask about your pay, which is already a bit strange. If you don't answer and change the subject, the same question will be asked again later. That's what I have in mind. When it comes to people like this, we should be careful before we give them our trust. So you can't trust this kind of person, and if you have the chance, you should stay away from them. Everyone's friend. The person who is friends with everyone is the seventh type. Stoicism tells us that we can't change how other people see us. Instead of trying to please everyone, Stoics thought it was more important to be yourself. Who hasn't met someone like that, who smiles at everyone, wants the best for everyone, hugs everyone, and says, you can always count on them? In short, this is the type of person who wants to be well-known, outgoing, and liked by everyone. I'm not saying that we should judge someone based on these traits alone. I want to tell you not to believe everyone you meet, because someone who smiles at everyone, tries to make everyone happy, and always makes promises only wants to be liked. This kind of person wants to be the center of attention, so you are just another one, another number, and someone who can be won over. People like this are looking for attention and live in a fantasy world. Knowing this, you should always be suspicious, because outgoing people who want to be too famous tend to get rid of people quickly, and you could be next. Critic. The eighth type is someone who is always bad-mouthing something or someone, especially other people. Stoics would spend less time judging others and more time talking about how important it is to constantly evaluate yourself. Stoicism is about making ourselves and our character better. If someone spends their time criticizing other people, generally through gossip, rumors, or even trying to hurt someone's reputation, they probably have a bad character. Think about it. If you're a good person with things to do like work, take care of your own path and pay your bills, you probably won't go around talking and sharing rumors about other people. I mean that people who criticize other people's lives too much have nothing better to do and are unhappy enough to say things about other people that aren't important. So be wary, don't respect, and don't care about this kind of person, because if they easily say bad things about other people, they can easily start saying bad things about you too. If you've gotten this far, good for you. Leave a comment below if you trusted and respected someone who had some of these traits up until now. But hold on, it isn't over yet. I still need to show you 2 more kinds of people. People who are always getting into trouble are the 9th type of people. Stoics tell us to take responsibility for our actions and feelings instead of blaming luck or the way things are. These people have trouble and drama in their lives, say they have bad luck, and see life as a punishment. People say that every day there is a new problem, and each day seems to bring a new result. The person is there, telling everyone they don't know what's going on and that everything is hard. In the end, be careful around this kind of person. There's nothing wrong with being suspicious, because if a person has a lot of problems, it's not a coincidence. It's not the world working against them, but rather the person sabotaging themselves. They probably make bad choices every day, don't learn from their mistakes, and can't handle their own feelings. So I would tell you to be wary of this kind of person, because if you feel sorry for their sad and hard story and always want to help them, their problem can quickly become your problem. So be careful, because people like this who collect problems and dramas have only one real problem: themselves. And I don't think you want that kind of trouble on your side. Pretend to hear. People who act like they are listening to what you say are the 10th type. Stoicism would tell us to be assertive and, if we have to, leave talks that don't help us if other people are just pretending to listen. You know the kind of person who, when you say something and try to share a thought, just says, "Yes, I understand. That's true," and nothing else. That can be frustrating and even rude. Worst of all is when someone talks about what they want, and when it's your turn to talk, they just try to listen, look at their phone, or agree, even though they don't really care what you're saying. In other words, they heard you, but they aren't really listening. Let's be honest, for a conversation to happen, at least one person has to listen to what you say. If they don't, it's not a conversation. So, if you're talking to someone and you notice that they're not listening, or, even worse, they start using their phone while you're talking, which is a clear sign that they're not paying attention, just stop talking. It doesn't help to talk to walls. Don't waste your time on someone who isn't listening or is just acting. If that's the case, get up and say you're going. At the end of the day, you don't have to spend time with people who don't care about what you have to say. In short, looking at the different kinds of people who can make it hard to trust them can teach us a lot about how to build more real and meaningful connections. By putting Stoic lessons into practice, we learn to keep our inner peace, develop virtue, be honest, and keep our cool in tough situations. We're done for the day. We've come to the end of this video, and I really hope you find these tips to be very helpful. Don't forget that you are an important part of this channel. If this video made you think or teach you something, leave a like and a comment so that more people can learn about the power of Stoic knowledge. As we come to the end of this enlightening trip through Marcus Aurelius' timeless advice, remember that you hold the key to a calmer, stronger life. Are you ready to learn more about Stoicism? Find out how to live a happy life with our exclusive ebook, which you can get by clicking on the link in the saved comments. Thank you for coming on this trip with us that will change all of us. Now is the time to start looking for information and peace of mind. Subscribe for more and get started on your way to improving yourself.